I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we are focusing like a laser beam on a very important work of literature. It is a book called I Can Hear Water Dripping. It is written by Peggy Ahn, and the message of her book is one that resonates throughout society because they are problems that are affecting society today, including sex trafficking and prostitution. Peggy, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about your book, I Can Hear Water Dripping.
I Can Hear Water Dripping includes a horrible crime. I was subjected to abuse when I was young. It was in Marbella in the south of Spain.
Yeah. And
where I was they drugged me, kidnapped me, put me in a cellar where they raped me, hit me, and I wasn't a human being. I was just like a thing for them. And they sold me to other men there.
unbelievable, unbelievable, horrible. And this happened while you were a tourist, you were traveling?
Yes, I was a tourist from Sweden, a young girl.
Awful, awful. And how were you able to rebuild your life after being in this awful experience?
It was very difficult, but I had some luck. I met my husband about 6 months after. He was a very safe man, lived in the country. I have horses, and so in a way, I get stronger and stronger.
Yeah. And in the book, you point out that people need to be careful that sex trafficking in Sweden, sex trafficking in Spain are real problems, even till this day, or maybe even especially now.
Yes, even though we have Sweden is the only country in the world who has a law about trafficking, about prostitution. You can't. It's not allowed to buy sex in Sweden. The law came in 1999. Even though we have big problems with prostitution and trafficking, many girls are from Russia, Ukraine, and so on, very very poor countries.
Yeah, and then they're exploited by gangs or organized crime primarily.
Yes, many organized crime. I just read that Marbella has about 117 criminal organization criminals. Yes, and in Sweden it's awful now. It's the same nearly.
Awful. Tell me about writing your book. Did it help you? Was it therapeutic? Did it help you work through your feelings from that difficult time?
Yes, it was like a diary, where you wrote down all your feelings, and it was a kind of rehabilitation for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, very much good therapy. Tell me about the title, I Can Hear Water Dripping. Tell the audience what that means.
It's a science from the book where when I lay on the mattress there in the cellar, and I can hear some water dripping. It was one of the sounds I could hear when I was in the cellar. I hear water dripping, and from there I took the title to my book, I Can Hear Water Dripping.
I guess listening to the water was a way to distract you from the terrible things that were happening, right?
All right.
Yeah. Now you're working on other books as well. Tell me about your other book.
Yes, it's a new one. It's about the same crime, but it's also about so many more things. Did many research, reading other books about trafficking, prostitution, slavery. It's about all that things, and it's also about my childhood and why I think that some people manage to survive very bad experience, and why some people don't manage. It's about a subject in our brains. It's the name is brain delivery neurotic factor. Mm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
of course, where you can get some help, because when this happened to me, I couldn't find some help in Sweden because people didn't believe me, not the police, not the healthcare. Everybody said, no, it can't be true. So they didn't believe me too. I had to work with my travel insurance for 8 years before they say, okay, we understand this happened, and they pay me some, yeah.
Horrible, horrible,
Yeah,
because
some,
that makes it even worse. You're being victimized, you're looking for help, and then people don't believe you.
yes. And when I was laying in the street in Marbella, where they put me after, I cried for help, and some tourists just walk over me. They didn't see me. Maybe they think I was drunk or something. I don't know.
Awful, awful. How old were you at the time?
I was 27,
Terrible.
and I have been in Marbella before, the year before, with my boyfriend then. And one of the days we have rent a car and we drive around in Marbella to Puerto Banús. I was in Puerto Banús. There was the big house with the cellar. That's why I probably thought that I had been raped in Puerto Banús, because we went back there with the police and so on.
Yeah. What do you think society needs to do to get this problem under control?
Sorry?
What do you think society or government needs to do to get this problem under control, to help women who are in your circumstance and prevent it from happening?
I think information is very important. Read books and go out in media like this and tell everyone this is happening now, even in Sweden. It can be your neighbor, and it's very common in Sweden now, even though we have the law against prostitution. But in Spain, prostitution is legal.
Right.
Of course, it's different. I have studied Spain and Sweden, of course.
Yeah. And there's problems in other parts of the world too. You focus primarily on Spain and Sweden, but legal or illegal prostitution and women being exploited seems to be, epidemic nowadays in the United States, for example, in other parts of Europe. It's a real problem, and people are hurting. They're left with lasting scars. And then some of them are trapped in it because of drug addiction. That's another problem as well, correct?
Correct. Absolutely correct. Yes. It's
Yeah.
horrible.
They will generally stay in that. Go ahead.
Sorry?
No, go ahead. You were saying something?
Yes, I just said that the criminals cheating the woman, they say to them, oh, come to Sweden, you get some job and you can earn money here, and so on. And then they have to work as prostitution.
Some of the women will travel from one country to another. They're promised work. They have no idea what the work is when they get to that country. They owe huge debts. And they're basically forced by, I know in Asia, they call them snakeheads, the men that bring the women over to work as prostitutes. So it involves organized crime, like you say, and it leaves a lot of victims, unfortunately. Hopefully your book is helpful to people. Have you heard from anyone who's read it, who has been helped by your story?
Not yet. It came out, the first one came out many years ago, but I haven't did any promotion for this book. This is the first time, Yes.
Exactly, exactly. Well, hopefully we're getting the word out there. It's an important work of literature. It's a work of nonfiction that will really touch you when you hear of the plight of these young women. It is called I Hear Water Dripping, and we are delighted to have Peggy in the spotlight today. Peggy, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Logan.
My pleasure indeed. And to the viewers at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.